And then I'll stay. I'll share my screen. Yeah, hope you guys can see my screen. Can somebody confirm if you're able to see my screen properly?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so last week when we discussed a lot about Git and several commands, how we use Git and all those things, and yeah, let me cover all of them in the in the form of an example. Okay, so hope I think I requested you guys to install Eclipse and all. Okay, so if you guys are ready with Eclipse, I can help you to configure them. To push the code into the GitHub. Okay, so today I'm gonna cover with all the commands, like how do you create a new repo, and a sample build file that that can deploy your Maven, sorry, that can deploy your jar file into Maven repo. Okay, so and how we can use it in other projects and all, we can try to complete them, all the concepts, mostly all these three things. Okay, so Jenkins I'm not going to cover, because Jenkins is like you know it's a pay tool. So because of Jenkins, I just started GitLab over here. So both are same. Like we were using it for CA and CD process. Okay, so I'm gonna cover the GitLab instead of Jenkins. So and these things I'm gonna cover today. So most probably till GitHub, the concepts that I'm going to cover in GitLab also will be covered in the GitHub. Okay, so how to deploy and all those things. So let me start working on the Eclipse. Okay, I'll share what exactly I'm doing it right now. Okay, so before that, let me log in to the GitHub. Okay, yeah. Okay, so in the commands, right? Like, sorry. So let me do one more thing. Okay, so I'm just open my Git bash. Okay, at one of the folder. Okay, just a second. Okay, right now I'm trying to do on the from the first step. Okay, okay. So then, Okay. Yeah, so I'm just going through a couple of things. Okay, so this is our Git repository. Okay, this is a Git perspective, and what I'm trying to do now, I'm just going to create a local Git repository, and I'm going to write some code over there. Okay, like I'm just going to build a project over there, and I'm going to push this same code to the remote repository, and in the remote repository using actions and using certain workflows, I'm going to build a jar file, and that jar file will be deployed into Maven repository. Okay, so that anybody can get that jar file, okay, in the world. Okay, so this is what we are going to do. Okay, so let me create a local repository now. Okay, so how do we create a local repository? I think we learned it, in the previous class. Okay, so before creating a local repository, I'm just doing a Maven project. Create a Maven project, and our template. Okay, no, I don't want any working set. Okay. Okay. Old one. Old Pro and artifact area is this. Okay, I'm just giving finish. Okay, so it just created me a basic Maven project. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let me do something. Okay, so it's a basic Java project has been created. So now I'm going to convert the created project, right, into the GitHub. Sorry, I'm going to create a Git repository locally for this particular Wallflow. Okay, so I'm gonna close this, and there are two ways that we can do it. Okay, one is using the Git commands that we learned last week. Okay, and the other one is like we can use it, we can create it directly from the Eclipse. Okay, so I'm going with the Git bash right now. So with the command, just to introduce those commands, how it works and all. Okay, so Git init will help us to create a local repository on a certain folder, right? So I'm just clicking Git init. So it created an empty Git repository that you might already seen it. Dot Git has been created over there. Okay, so we have a local repo right now. Okay, for this particular project, right? So what you need to do once you have the local repo, so you need to sync this project with the existing sorry, with the remote repository, right? And also you have so many other things that you have to commit them, right? So let's go with one by one. Okay, there are certain steps that you need to follow, okay, to push the local repository to as in a remote repository. Okay, so what you need to do first, you need to create a new repository at the GitHub side. Okay. Yeah, before that, I'm going to show you something. Okay. So there are some good documentation which we already have in the GitHub docs. Okay. So what you need to do when you are adding a local hosted code, to GitHub, like, your local repository code, you are trying to push it to the GitHub, right? So that time, yeah, we have to follow certain steps. Okay. So what we have done right now, we have created, a repository, okay, using Git init. So this is, we already done it, right? So what you need to do, we need to, like, we have already created certain project structure. Okay. So that project structure is already there, you know, in the Eclipse, and in the same folder itself, we created a repo, right? So now what we need to do for that repo, all these files were not committed into that repo, right? So we need to add everything. Okay. So it is going to add them, right? And then you you have to commit all of them, okay, with using these commands. Okay. Initial commit. Okay. So now once it is committed, so all your changes are available in the master branch of World Pro, right? Master branch of World Pro. Okay. So now what you need to do, you have to push all these local repository files to a remote repository file, correct? So now what we need to do, we have to go back and create a new repository on World Pro, okay? And give some example. My first remote repo demo. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to explain this later. Public and private, I think you might be understand with those public and private. Okay. Public means, it's all accessible for everybody. Okay. But, we can choose who can commit it. But private is kind of, very strict, that I only can have access, and, I can only create that, commit to that repository. Okay. So yeah, I am just choosing for public now, and I'm not going to touch anything over here. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna, okay, let me select this as Maven for now. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna select this for none now. Okay. I'm just creating a repository. Okay. So once you click a create repository, so it is going to give you these commands. Okay. So I already told you these commands. Okay. So what you need to do, first create a new repository on the command line. Okay. So we have already done this: git init and git add and git commit. First commit is already done, and then git branch. Okay. So we did not do this because, it's already created a master branch in my local, so I did not add it. So the next one is this one. Okay. So what we need to do, we need to run this git remote add origin, okay, with this URL, and then you have to push all the changes, whatever you have it on your local, you can push it directly to the remote repository. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just copy this command. Okay. I'm just copy this command, git branch. You okay? Yeah, just paste it here. Git remote add origin HTTPS and my Git repo, right? Just click enter. So what I done, actually it connected to the remote origin, which is the GitHub repo, whatever we have given it. Now what we are trying to do, we are trying to push all the changes, like all the project related files and everything. You are trying to push it to the GitHub. Okay. So sometimes, it might fail over here, okay, uh, because of the connection issues, or because of some, if it is like the origin, the remote add origin, right? These things, if it is not working properly, it might fail. Okay, so you have to retry with the same remote add origin, or there are other ways also that we can import the code from another repository. Okay, so yeah, the other way, it is very simple, that you need to set up repository remote repository directly from here, and you can pull that, you can pull that repo related details into your Eclipse, and then you can start whatever the code. Sorry. And then you can start whatever the code that you wanted to do it. But what I've done, I just created a local repository and tried to push that repository to the remote repository as Pro. Okay, so let me show you whether it really pushed the code, or whether really it pushed the project to here. Yeah, see. Okay, so I have a pom.xml which was created Pro. Okay, and it has added everything to the initial commit, right? Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm going to write a class, okay, in the World Pro, because this is already connected to, okay, this is already connected to where? It's a remote Java repository. Okay, so I'm gonna create a class World Pro demo, right? And just giving public static void main. Okay, then hello Pro demo, right? Okay, I'm just giving this, for now. Okay, so I have a class now. So what we need to do, we have to push this file to, to the repository, right? So how you can do it? There are two ways again. Actually, we can do that, executing multiple commands, okay, using git bash. Okay, I'm gonna show you both ways, okay, from Eclipse and from git bash. Okay, but for this you have to do couple of things whenever you are connecting to the GitHub. Okay, so I'll show you them right now. Well, if it is fails, I'll show you. Otherwise, I'm gonna give you steps how to connect the GitHub whenever it is getting failed. Okay, so let me do that first. So what we have done, we have done a change in the World Pro. Okay, Just do a refresh. Properties, job path, and here this is coming library. So I guess gonna get repository. One second. What is that? Okay. Master finish. No, no, no. Yeah, so I have done one mistake. One second. Hey, just a minute, okay. So okay, one second. Actually, I know I have done one small mistake, so that's why it is. Let me delete this and I'll directly pull it from there. Okay. Okay. Yeah. The metadata as well. Okay. So I'll just create a new one. Eclipse. Okay. Okay. So so luckily, I have deleted it, but the problem was there. Okay, so when I created using Git init, right? So at that time, I did not imported that, the repo to the Eclipse. So I had a problem with that. Okay, well, pushing the code. Okay, so what I've done now, I'm gonna pull the code, clone a Git repository. So there are two ways that you can do it. Okay, from the local folder, so where you created a local repository, or from the URL where you have, created this repo in the GitHub. Okay, so I just use this one, and okay, for actually for you know for reading those repo, you don't require to add any username password, uh, but when you're committing and all, you might require those you might require those proper, what do we say, the passwords and all. Okay, so let me create finish. Okay, now the it pulled all the code from the remote repository, and I'm just doing the import as a project. Okay, so I have imported that. Okay, yeah. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do some small changes over here. One is Java build path. I'm going to remove this 1.5. I don't know where it is coming from. Okay, I just okay. So there are two things, like we generally follow a couple of, one second. Yeah, we follow the folder structure. Okay, for Maven, right? So, because of, the folder that I did not committed earlier, actually it did not went well. Okay, what I'm gonna do, I'm just going to add these folders on my own, and then I'm going to, keep them. One second. So slash main, next, finish. Okay, and add new folder, resources. Okay, one second. What is I saying? I'll just remove it. Okay. Okay. Now add folder, and the folder. That's it. Finish. Okay. And yeah, let me keep it only very simple. Okay. So I'm gonna give source main resources, and one more folder. Yeah, let me keep it like this only. Okay. So just click OK. And these are the source folders which I've created, and just creating apply and close. Okay. So now we have source main Java and source main resources. Okay. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add a class. Okay. Uh, Altro demo, and I'm just adding one simple method, static word main. Yeah. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, okay. Just added one method. Okay. Yeah. Now, if you see, observe here, actually there is a question mark that it is showing actually. Okay. So that means, these files were not tracked. Okay. So what we need to do, there are a couple of ways, right? The one way that you can do it from the Git bash. Okay. Try to check what is the status of this. So there are two things modified. One is dot class path file, is modified, and also there is, this one pom.properties, and there is a source folder created, and this is untracked files, right? Okay. So what we need to do, we have to, you know, track these changes, right? So for that, okay, I'm gonna do git add space dot. Yeah. So it pom.properties. Okay. Okay. That's fine. So I added everything for now. Okay. Just, generally we won't commit any target classes and all those things into the Git repo. But for now, I just added it. Okay. And once you add that, okay, when you click back Git status, so these things were tracking now. Okay. So there are two things modified. One is class path modified, and a new file was created. And also there is some new file was created in the dot class files. Okay. And here also we have some modification for the pom dot properties. Okay. So now what you need to do when it is under the tracking, we can git commit some message that you can give. So this is my second commit. Okay. And that's all. Just click enter. Yeah. So four files have been changed, and what are all the changes that it is just showing you. Okay. And then now it is committed now, right? So what you need to do, we have to push this to your branch, right? So I'm trying to push it. Okay, so now it is pushed. So if I go back and check here, just do a refresh. Yeah, see, so it pushed all those all pro, right? Okay, so let me do one thing. I'm just gonna remove this. Okay, delete this target hyphen classes, and let me do. See how we do that, right? Just click delete. Okay, before that, can you now I'll show you from the IDE perspective. Okay, Windows show view. Go to the Git. Okay, Git, and just get the Git staging open. Okay, so this is where actually you can track your changes. Okay, unstaged and staged. Okay, I'm just going to delete this target folder. Okay, deleting. So what we are deleting, actually we were deleting these things. Artifact ID. This is okay. Yeah. So let me remove this. Okay. Target. This will actually have something. Okay, now you're adding it here. Don't commit. Okay, once again. Once again. Yeah. Okay. So I might be configured in the pom.properties. So every time this is going to create one more time. Okay, let me do one thing. Okay, just a minute. Okay. Don't commit. Okay, that's simple. When you wanted to do it from the commits from Eclipse, okay, you don't require to directly push on commit and push. Okay, just do commit first, and once it is there, so it will show you the available commits in the team. Okay, which branch that you wanted to push it. Actually, right now, I did not created any separate branches, so I just created a push master branch only. So push master branch. Okay, so it is going to ask you the preview, and in the preview what you need to do, you have to give the user ID and password. Okay, this is not the direct password that you are logging into GitHub. There's a way that you need to generate this password, and this password will be used for couple of months. Okay, so depending on your selection. Okay, for my password, actually it is going to used only for 1 month. Okay, so I have my user ID and I have my password for login. Okay, so it logged in, and these are all the changes that it's going to do. Okay, and just click on push. So it is going to ask you again. Okay, login. Okay, so it it did went there. Okay, and let's see, whether if it is affected or not here. Yeah, so it just removed all the classes folder. The targets will be there. Okay, this class is mine. Okay, so it might be added because of every time it is getting updated. That's okay. Yeah, but let me show you the commits, whatever it had. All pro, the commits. Mhm. These are all branches only one master. So you see here third commit. Yeah, the only change what I've done, okay, so it just removed only the git ignore file, and okay, it just added some new changes in the POM properties. Okay, so it again added the git ignore. Okay, so there is not much things that I have done, but it is like to show you the commit from the Eclipse side. I've done it. Okay, and what we need to do now, when you create, so just a second, let me go back. So now we committed everything into into the GitHub. Okay, and what we need to have here, there is a file that you're going to, okay, so now you have some code in this. Okay, and what you need to do, you wanted to deploy this particular jar file into the Maven repo. Okay, so GitHub provides different type of actions. Okay, we can create our workflow. Okay, depending on the project. Okay, so let me do something. Okay, I don't see this. Where is the Apache? Okay, let me search for that. Okay, Maven. Java with Maven. Okay, so what you see here, publish Java package with Maven, right? So I'm just going to click this configure. Okay, so what this does, right? It is going to create a YAML file. Okay, forget about now what is YAML file and all. Okay, just try to understand how the GitHub is helping us, to publish this jar files. Okay, so Maven hyphen publish. This is the YAML file which is created by GitHub. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to change something. Okay, from on which condition this, this Maven file should trigger the workflow. Okay, so I'm just changing it. Okay, on not in the release. Okay, so I'm just changing it to push. On push, what we need to do, uh, on push, on branches, one master. Okay, so what I'm trying to do now, on, if somebody is trying to push something into the master branch. Okay, so I'm asking, this YAML file to run certain things. Okay, so what I'm trying to do, okay, what I'm trying to run. Okay, so I'm just setting up the JDK action, JDK 11, okay, as a default, and then I'm trying to use the distribution management, to create you know this one. Okay, uh, to create a jar file. Okay, and after creating it, okay, and I wanted to publish that jar file, uh, to the GitHub repo. Okay, so I'll show you step by step. Okay, what exactly it is. So I already have written some commands. Okay, in my uh, okay, for easy understanding purpose, actually I have written some of the commands. Okay, just let me show you. For repositories in first row. So guys, if you see here, right, in the actions, okay, so I have a Maven package, okay, which is Maven publish YAML. Okay, so I just added something like this. Okay, so if you see here, what I'm doing, I'm just creating a directory. Okay, I'm just creating a directory, and then once it is created, so I'm just creating a target directory. Under this, I'm just publishing our jar file. Okay, so this thing, I'm not going to do it with the project whatever I have done. I'm just trying to deploy that directly into the GitHub. Okay, so I'm not going to do any additional changes. Okay, because in the file which I have created, so it is JDK 11 supported. I'll just make sure when we are committing the file for the my demo, or for the world pro. Okay, I'm just going to make sure that it supports that JDK 11. So for that, I just need to do a couple of changes in the pom.xml. I'll just make sure like my uh, compiler and the Maven plugins which follow the specific uh, version numbers. So I just added these things. Okay. So I'll tell you what is this distribution management and all. Okay. Just a minute. Okay. Now, so what you need to do, you just need to update your project name here. Vault Pro. That's it, right? And what is this Vault Pro? That's it. Okay. Okay. So I'm just giving this, I'll just commit this one to that index. Okay. What is this? Okay. Yeah. Before committing this one, what I'm just changing, I'm trying to change, okay, the which will match with the compiler version of the YAML file over there, while building it. And also I have added distribution management. So what is this distribution management, right? It is going to help to identify your package, okay, your URL first pro. So from where this is trying to create a jar file of the project, so that's where actually it is going to pull the code and it is going to create a project, a jar file. So how we are creating, what jar file it creates, it creates this first pro. No, I'm sorry, I just took the different one, I think so, right? Okay, so yeah, so it is going to create a jar file of Pro and with the snapshot. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm just commit this one. Okay, fourth commit and just push it. And team. Okay, let's make it fast. Okay, git push. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, so it is already having the commands, whatever it requires for the build. Okay, so let me go back and okay, this is having settings.xml now and apply. Okay, okay, 1 second. Start commit and just I'm just committing this publish YAML file in here itself. Okay, and now when you see the actions, okay, 1 second. Okay, so let me go back. Okay, I'm just check the pom.xml whether it is committed or not. Okay, so it's committed. Okay, now so what we have written in the YAML file, we written that whenever somebody push something to this project, we are asking them, we are asking the YAML file to run certain commands in it, right? So what I'll do, I'll just push one more thing. Okay, I'm just adding one more extra statement over here too, and I'm just clicking fifth commit. Okay, just pushing. Okay, so when I do something, so when I perform some changes over here, So it is coming to here. Okay, so these are all unstaged changes. So that means, which are untracked. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm just adding it. Okay, when I click on this add, so it is going to perform a background command as git add. Okay, and it is added to the tracking. So once it is tracking, what we are doing to, we are going to write a commit message, and we're just clicking commit. So internally it is going to execute git commit message. Okay, and that and externally, what I'm trying to do, why I'm running here, because I need to enter those password and all. So I'm just trying to push it now. Okay, so why it rejected? Because there was a change that we have done in the repository. Okay, we added a YAML file. So before that, I'll just try to pull them, git pull, and now I'll just push it. Okay, so it done. So I got the YAML file, and then whatever the changes I have done, it already pushed it. Okay, so now what we need to observe, okay, when you go back here into the actions. Okay, 1 second. There's some issue. On push branches, all right. Okay, I'm sorry. There is some change here. Master. Okay, commit. It's committed. Yeah, so if you see here, when I commit something, so this is going to trigger a workflow. Okay, so what this workflow does, so we have given some commands to, in the YAML file. Okay, so what are all the commands that we are doing in the YAML file? Yes, we have multiple things. Okay, that we are doing it right now. So this is the job that it is going to trigger inside. Okay, and finally, what it does, it is going to publish your jar file to the Maven repository. So now, so let me show you something. Okay. Okay. So it just downloaded all the Maven related things. Okay. And once that is done, actually at the final position, okay. So it created, you know, it build, it is building the jar file for WorldPro, and it built it for WorldPro -001 and snapshot.jar file. Okay, so this jar file, what we are asking to do, we are asking to do publish this jar file to the GitHub packages. So Apache Maven. So it created, an Apache. 1 second, I'll show you the exact URL. Okay, so if you see here, so it uploaded the jar file, to this location, maven.package. Okay, WorldPro, WorldPro 0.0.1 and snapshot.jar. Okay, so it uploaded to the Maven. So let's say, if you want to use this one, okay, if you want to use this as a dependency, you can still go ahead in the Maven project and go to the pom.xml in another project, and you can specify this, the version of this one, and you can use this jar file directly in your projects. So this is how we we build it, we commit, and we push it, and then we can have a build file that can be generated a jar file, a jar file or a var file depending on your configurations. Okay, so we can wrap the jar file or var file, and we can publish the same thing to the Maven repositories. Okay, for reutilization. This is how we does it. Okay, for all the Okay, so in between, I think most of you guys are not having knowledge on YAML file and the GitHub and all those things. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to repeat the YAML related things tomorrow. Okay, and I'll cover GitLab, which is also going to cover internally all these commands one more time. Okay, to perform these edits and all, like commit, push, pull, everything. So I did not cover anything in the pull request and all, right? So what is pull request? Okay, so it's going to take only 5 minutes. Okay, but the pull requests are right now. I'm pushing into one branch itself, right? So if there are multiple people are working on it, okay, so they wanted to push some changes to the master branch. Okay, so if I push something and they push something, there is a conflict that it is going to happen. So generally what we do, we generally have the master branch as it is, and on top of master branch we usually create a new branches. Okay, so one branch is for my code and the another branch is for some other person code, right? So once we have done with our changes, we'll commit our changes to that branch. So that from that branch, if you want to merge the changes, you have to create a pull request. Okay, so this pull request will help us, to merge the code changes from the previous, the current branch to master branch. Okay, same way, the other person also can do the same steps. He commit the changes to his branch, and once the changes are okay, and they can push that, they can merge those changes with the master branch. That's how it does. Okay, I'll show you one small demo for that. Okay, tomorrow. Okay, when we are discussing about the GitLab, and yeah, this is how the GitHub and how we connect from Eclipse, and these are all the commands that we use it from the Git bash. Okay, so yeah, I have certain commands, okay, which I already added into you know uh, in the PPT. So if I mostly I have covered all those commands, whatever we discussed in the last session. Okay, so I'll try to add more things in the GitLab. Okay, when we GitLab is kind of a CI/CD process that we do. Okay, so okay, so what I'll do, I'll just check all those things. I know what are all the missing commands we have it. In today's session, and I'll try to add them in the tomorrow's one. Okay, yeah. Hopefully, if you have any questions or anything, please let me know, because this is like this is not like the theory session, so it would be like little um, it might be a little difficult to understand the process. Once you understand it is very easy. Okay, so do let me know if you have any questions. Okay, and I'll try to answer them. Yeah, that's all for today. If you have any questions, let me know right now. Okay.